Well, a headline on the Fox: Agriculture Secretary cancels $600,000 grant for study on menstrual cycles in transgender men. So these ridiculous studies that Elon Musk has found and has canceled, they're real. There is some, they are real. There is some obsession in the federal government with just studying transgender animals and transgendering people and pushing adult circumcision in Africa. Just total weirdness, not really what we thought our tax money was going to. I thought it was going to soldiers' salaries and, new fighter jets and stuff like that and social security payments. And it turns out it's going to social security payments to dead people. And there have been some really obtuse folks on the left who said, look, dead people can't cash checks. Correct, right? Correct, Dudley. Dead people cannot cash checks. What you're looking at is mass fraud. You're looking at people filing these things falsely and then cashing the checks. And they found that the checks are being deposited. It's not like the checks are just rotting in a mailbox somewhere. The checks are being deposited. So I wanted to speak a little bit more about this Bitcoin reserve. I was tired last night when I came in and recorded an update for you guys, but I think it's absolutely huge. I think it's absolutely huge quantum leap where you have a superpower going from kind of just antagonizing Bitcoin and barely allowing it to be used in commerce to this huge kind of all day summit at the White House where all the big people were there: the CEO of Coinbase, the Winklevoss twins, Michael Saylor, all the big names in Bitcoin were there. And Trump handled this perfectly. He gave everybody hope that he was going to be, inclusive, but then he ultimately made the Bitcoin reserve about Bitcoin, which I think is fair. If it's the digital gold, you don't want a bunch of other ones next to it necessarily, because there is a first place when it comes to crypto. And many people think that Bit is that first place since it was literally first to be invented, and since it's the most supported, and the code is the most reviewed of any crypto, most reviewed and audited and updated by a larger team than any other crypto, right? In terms of the volunteers who keep the code base intact, Bitcoin has the most eyes looking at it. So I want to actually read part of the White House statement that they published, because this is such big news. I don't think people fully grasp. Last night I bought a whole bunch more Bitcoin just to support, just to, as a round of applause. Because again, this is amazing. Trump sometimes has a way of sounding like he's going to give you what you want, and then like some kind of jigsaw character, he perversely gives you the almost polar opposite of what you were hoping for, and you wish you had not even asked for it. But here we got exactly what we wanted, and it's going to stand the test of time, I think, precisely because he structured it so well, precisely because it doesn't take any new money. It instead just takes the crypto they've already seized in criminal investigations and applies it toward this reserve. And it allows them to buy more in the future as long as they're doing so in a budget neutral way. But all that means, as far as people can tell, is if the government chooses to sell one asset, they can then use the proceeds to buy Bitcoin. All that means is they can't, raise new funds, but they can sell existing stuff to buy Bit. So here is the post on whitehouse.gov on the presidential actions page. Quote, establishment of the strategic Bitcoin reserve and United States digital asset stockpile. The White House, March 6, 2025. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered, Section 1 background. Bitcoin is the original cryptocurrency. The Bitcoin protocol permanently caps the total supply of Bitcoin at 21 million coins and has never been hacked. As a result of its scarcity and security, Bitcoin is often referred to as, quote, digital gold, because there is a fixed supply of BTC, that's the ticker for Bitcoin, or the abbreviation for Bitcoin. Because there is a fixed supply of BTC, there is a strategic advantage to being among the first nations to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. The United States government currently holds a significant amount of BTC, but has not implemented a policy to maximize BTC's strategic position as a unique store of value in the global financial system. Just as it is in our just as it is in our country's interest to thoughtfully manage national ownership and control of any other resource, our nation must harness, not limit, the power of digital assets for our prosperity. Section 2, Policy. It is the policy of the United States to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. It is further the policy of the United States to establish a United States digital asset stockpile that can serve as a secure account for orderly and strategic management of the United States' other digital asset holdings. Section 3, Creation and Administration of the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve and United States Digital Asset Stockpile. Part A. The Secretary of the Treasury shall establish an office to administer and maintain control of custodial accounts, collectively known as the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, capitalized with all BTC held by the Department of the Treasury that was finally forfeited as part of criminal or civil asset forfeiture proceedings or in satisfaction of any civil money penalty imposed by any executive department or agency, and that is not needed to satisfy requirements under 31 U.S. Code 9705 or released pursuant to subsection D of this section. Within 30 days of the date of this order, each agency shall review its authorities to transfer any government Bitcoin held by it to the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve and shall submit a report reflecting the result of that review to the Secretary of the Treasury. I'm not going to keep reading because it gets pretty, it turns into total legalese. But incredible, absolutely incredible. President Trump mansplaining the importance of Bitcoin on the White House website. What a change from the Biden era. What a change from Biden December, as I call it, right? Biden's last month, where it just seemed like nobody was in charge. Very eerie feeling. I feel like there's nobody steering the ship, you know? Well, we certainly have a helmsman again. We certainly have a captain. Again, it's right on the White House website, establishment of the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve and United States Digital Asset Stockpile. And Bitcoiners can't be upset because this relegates Bitcoin to a special status. It's not being put in the same basket as a bunch of altcoins. It's not being treated as the same as Ethereum or Litecoin for that matter, or Dogecoin. It's being treated as its own class, which Bitcoiners are going to like. And just incredible policy. So if Bitcoin really takes off in the years ahead, the U.S. government will be able to look back and go, hey, thank God we own so many Bitcoin, you know? And it's a gamble. Maybe Bitcoin's not as big in a few years. It's a gamble, but it's one that I think many other countries are going to follow. So absolutely incredible. And again, he did it in the right way, I think, by making it Bitcoin focused. Bitcoin has way more credibility than these smaller coins. You know, you can buy or sell Bitcoin on PayPal, Robinhood, Fidelity. So these are big platforms, and it's very easy for people to work with Bitcoin at this point, to send it to people and to receive it. A lot of good wallet apps out there. Whereas smaller coins are still kind of the Wild West. So I think he did the right thing. I think he 100% nailed this. And yeah, so I'll leave this one here. I think it's time. So it's already March. It's already the first or almost second week in March. Those of you who have been listening and following along since January or late December, feel free to actually sign up for the newsletter because I'm going to start publishing more stuff over there. And we're still going to come out with videos on the YouTube channel and these weekly podcast updates. But the podcast is going back to being weekly instead of, more frequent because there's been a lot of news lately, which is why you've been getting a lot of updates. But from here on out, a lot of the analysis and a lot of the updates is just going to be by email. By email, that newsletter that already goes out to like 3,600 of you. So link should be in the description of this episode. Make sure you sign up if you want to get those updates. And that is it.